Welcome back to Holtham's Apiary. I'm Jason Holtham. In this video, I'm going to give you a end of year review of how things went in the apiary. You won't want to miss it. So a few days ago, on the 6th of January, I performed an oxalic acid treatment on the bee colonies here in the bee house. I do this every year in the winter to basically kill off the rest of the varroa mites that may be in the colonies. So today I'm going to be putting the varroa boards underneath the hives so that I can keep track and see how effective the treatment was. I normally do it around Christmas time, so this year I was a little bit later, but I also had to do it according to the weather because it shouldn't be too cold when you do the oxalic acid treatments. So about the colonies themselves, this year I caught a swarm not too far from here, and they seem to be doing pretty well. They've consumed quite a bit of winter food already. So I'm going to have to keep a close eye on them the next few weeks to make sure that they don't consume too much because they are quite strong. They've actually developed quite well, better than I thought they would actually. And I really want them to come out of the winter next winter in March and be able to start producing better numbers for the colony, which will in turn hopefully improve the honey harvest of next year. Colonies 1, 2, and 3 are pretty good. They're pretty strong. They have plenty of food. They're doing fine. They're all in their winter clusters, so that's a very positive thing. The one swarm that I did catch out here, right in front of the bee house, the cast swarm, I had to dissolve that colony about 6 weeks after I had caught them. They hadn't really begun to develop in numbers, and they were getting pretty weak, and there were some really weird things happening inside the hive. So I dissolved them. I wasn't able to put them into another colony, which I would have liked to have done, but just wasn't possible. So unfortunately, I lost that swarm. So as it looks right now, I have basically right now 4 colonies that I'm going to be hopefully being able to start with them next year in the spring. As most of you know, Yannick and we tried to create a couple of splits for him so that he has some bee colonies to work with on his own. But unfortunately, they did not work out. One of the splits we had to unify with the stronger of the 2 splits sometime, I think it was around July or August, because they were really weak. They weren't drawing out comb. They weren't really producing the numbers they need to produce to get themselves ready for winter. So we had to unify those 2 splits. But then, unfortunately, a few days ago, when I was checking through the hives, I looked outside at the split and found out that they had also perished. So also on the same day that I did oxalic acid treatments, we went through and looked at the split outside to see what the situation was. And it's hard to say. It's hard to say if it was because of mites. It's hard to say if it's because of lack of food. But one thing that we did find in the hive that was quite interesting was an actual queen cell. And it was capped off. So it looked like the bees were actually trying to raise a new queen, and really so late in the season. More than likely, the queen had died maybe in October, November, and they tried to raise a new queen. So that I think that colony would have been doomed anyway, because even if if a queen would have hatched now, there's no way she's going to be able to mate. So some weird things happen with that split, but we're going to try to next year just once again create new splits, maybe catch a couple more swarms, so that we can keep the numbers going. A little bit of a preview for next season. What I want to do is I want to try to, well, first of all, I want to increase the number of colonies I have. So like I just said, with splits or with swarms. But I would also like to try to make or try to build my own hive scales using Arduino microcontrollers, where I can actually have a better, more accurate idea of how much food the bees are consuming, how much honey they're actually bringing in, nectar. So that might be something that comes up in a couple of extra videos next year, or actually I should say in this year. We're in 2022. So yeah, I just want to try out some new things, maybe put a new roof on the bee house. As you can see behind me, you can see there's some watermarks here because it's a little bit leaky in some spots. So I'm going to try to put a new roof on, and maybe I'll add some solar power up there, some solar panels, 1 or 2 panels, so we can have a little battery here and some outlets, and maybe put in some lights. I don't know, just some new things. So yeah, so thanks a lot. I have now just over 100 subscribers, so thank you for your viewership. I'm going to try to get some new content out to you next year in a more regular frequency. This year, like at the end of the summer, didn't really have that much time, and also there wasn't a whole lot to do here in the apiary. So if you haven't already done it, hit subscribe and hit the notification bell, and I'll get some stuff out to you as soon as possible. And as always, stay safe, stay healthy, and have fun beekeeping.